Hello, hello. Today I am breaking down the massive shift from designing in the apparel industry to designing in the footwear industry and the industry secrets I learned along the way. I'm breaking down all the differences, all the skills, what I needed in the apparel design industry and what I needed in the footwear design industry. So stick around till the end of the video to learn everything, how I did it, and how you can do it too. I was in the apparel industry for 4 years. I went to school for fashion design and I wanted to focus on activewear. So that's what I did ever since my sophomore year. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I specialized all my projects. So I wanted to learn about the fabrics, know how they work with the body, and really get into that mindset and that hand into my design, my sketching, my concepting, everything. I wanted to just learn so much about the activewear industry as I could. And when I graduated, I accepted a full-time job as an activewear designer. So it was an amazing experience. We were creating this new brand called Flex, FLX, at Kohl's. I got to work with so many fabrics and so many categories. A lot of brands usually have their categories kind of broken up into bottoms, tops, outerwear. That's kind of how you might find them in the industry. But we got to design every single piece. So it was me and my manager, a team of two, and that just gave me so many tools and so much learning in those. Well, I ended up being there for 4 years. Those 4 years, I really got a sense of what it was to be an apparel designer in the activewear industry. By my 3.5 year, the brand wanted to do footwear as well. We worked with a third-party company to do our footwork, but they needed someone to be leading that side because they needed someone to lead the design and the colors for the footwear. I proposed it to my manager that I could take that on. So I did this footwear development course online with a very recognized footwear developer, and it just gave me the tools to know a little more about footwear and get to understand the language, the parts, everything. In that short period of time, I was able to understand more about footwear. So by my 4th year at the company, I kind of knew I was ready for the next challenge and the next step in my career. So that's when I saw the post on LinkedIn and I went ahead and applied, went through the run of interviews and got the job as a color designer in performance running at New Balance. This was back in 2023, which means I've been at the company for 3 years, and that's how the journey in color design for footwear started. The differences between apparel and footwear are so big. In apparel, you're working with one piece, and yes, you have to make sure every detail is perfect and the fit is everything. Like the fit and the fabric have to work together, and you have to take even 1/8 of inches in order for a garment to work and perform exactly like you want to. You also think about the whole collection. You're trying to make sure everything works together, that every piece goes along with the piece that's gonna sit in the store next to it. So you're thinking about how the person is going to shop all across the collection and the line or the season. So you want to make sure that things mix and match and people can be playful and they can grab this short and they can combine it with this top, and that same top can go up with the leggings. So it has kind of like a cohesive overall structure of the color merchandising that you're doing. It's more like a step back and looking at a full picture of what that collection looks like and how it's going to look like in the store. In footwear, you have so many pieces that have to work together in one single piece. The amount of apparel pieces you might get in one season might be more than the footwear that you're working on, because again, you have to take care of so many different pieces with so many different materials. It all has to work cohesively in the same piece. The other thing about footwear is that we work a lot with blockings. That might help you merchandise your footwear more easily And it takes the subjectivity out by creating a blocking that feels appropriate for the end use. And you just change the color in order to achieve the same feeling. Another big difference is the lead times. In apparel is so much more faster. You're trying to catch trends so much more close to the timeline. In footwear, it just takes longer. It's an 18 to 24 month calendar, and it sounds like you have enough time to redo and improve, but the process is really fast. It's the decision making, the prototyping, working with the factories, the communications, building the tooling, building the tech packs, working with your cross-functional partners. All of that takes a lot of time, and it's something that people might not be aware of. When we're looking at trends, we're looking 2 years ahead to see what's going to happen, how consumers are going to behave. The very similar thing between apparel and footwear is that you don't work alone, and you're working with many different teams that everyone has its part and its responsibility in the process. You have product managers, you have materials teams, you have your product developers, and some other teams that may vary by company. There may be a trend team, a concept team, but it's a very similar process. You do research for both, you go get inspiration. Some companies do inspiration trips, or you might just go to a local museum or exhibition gallery to get inspiration. Another similarity is you're working with a consumer in mind. You are designing to fit the needs of your consumer. And sometimes that might be hard in both apparel and footwear, because you do have to take a step back and not design for yourself. You're designing for someone else and someone else's needs. One skill that will work both in footwear and apparel is Illustrator. Illustrator is one of your biggest tools that you're gonna have in apparel and footwear and in the design industry in general. Another skill will work similar in both apparel and footwear is knowing about color harmony and just knowing how to harmonize color palettes and learning what works and what doesn't work together, and the distribution of accents and colors. You might use that same skill but in very different scale. Scale is everything. Scale is what makes the biggest difference between apparel pieces and footwear. Making the jump wasn't easy, but footwear is so fun. It's such a big world, and there's so much opportunity and so much to do. You can play with materials, you can play with colors, with finishes, the CMF role. It's such a important part of the process. And before I forget, my name is Isabella. I'm a color designer in the footwear industry, and I'm taking you through insights of the footwear and apparel industry in the athletic world. And if you like this video, stick around in this page and watch the next video to see why footwear can actually be 10 times harder than designing apparel. So, bye bye.